Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel and more Birthright here as we start our actual domain coverage for the Uric realms. We're starting off with an Anshe actually, the Siren's realm, one of the smaller ones, and sort of an oddball as far as those the Anshe go. So it's a neutral realm, certainly not available for PCs. Now, in contrast to most of the other Anshe that are like actually evil, her main goal basically just to maintain control of her realm, fend off those who would try to steal her lands or her power, and basically she realizes that by controlling her holdings in other lands, she can better monitor outside activities and prevent certain individuals from amassing too much strength. So as far as the law goes, she controls all the law within her realm, comprising her militia and her units known as the Guard. Up to the DM's discretion, really, on how many true army units that could produce. Temples, Eric and Borin, are not widely worshipped in the Siren's realm, in contrast to some of the other realms here. The two major temples are actually both dedicated to Nasiriye, and its high priest, Arek, level 9 priest, and actually neutral good, is an advisor who is close to the realm's ruler. Guild activity, economic power is controlled by Canuck and Wisbeck, advisors to her and owners of her trade fleet and shipbuilding interests. And then sources, basically there's no sources controlled in the realm, though she has directed her followers to investigate the practicality of actually developing them. Now, as a regent, it's a desolate realm, unusual, and she is unusual in that she is neither evil nor particularly interested in anything save the welfare of her lands and of the people who live there. So, yeah, like I said, in contrast to most of the other Anshe. Once an ordinary wandering minstrel, the Siren was known as Jerusha Fjolden. After her latent Anshe abilities were awakened, she fled to the realm she now rules, slew the powerful Anshe known as the Duskman, which would be cool just to, again, have sort of backstory on that a little bit more. We'll see that when we get to the Blood Enemies entry for her in a separate video. Cool name, though, right? And then freed the local people from his tyranny. So today, and now she's known as the Siren, continues to rule and causes little or no trouble for her neighbors. And we'll get to Blood Enemies in a separate video. The lieutenants, basically her primary assistants, are the 7 members of her council: Birkenhead, Canuck, Hanley, Radnorthorpe, Wisbeck, and Wolds. She's also served by skilled and loyal military leaders: Bardze, Govan, Hugh, Ride, and Shanklin. Her elite guard is led by Rolf Gunnarsson, a veteran Uric soldier who's secretly in love with the Siren herself. He serves her faithfully, though he currently plots to murder the Siren's lover, the Uric ranger Daleric. So a little bit of internal conflict there that could erupt and maybe destabilize the realm. Now, the realm is a rocky, rugged place that was once dominated again by the Duskman. The Siren, one of the more benign of her kind, actually slew the Duskman with her deadly cry, and has since ruled both wisely and kindly, with no territorial ambitions, again, in contrast to all the other Anshe for the most part. Basically just wants to be left alone. Now, the capital, Newtoner, is a teeming, crowded city home to extensive smelting facilities and extensive trading operations. She occupies a surprisingly modest villa in the center of the city. For trade goods, they actively trade from Port Helen to Dantier Island and Telenie. Exports include artwork, weapons, herbs, fish, and then imports: timber, finished wood, products, fabric, rare seaweed, useful in spellcasting. Now, there's really no official ties to any other land save Dantier Island, which is basically just a trading partner. And then enemies. So officially at peace with the Siren, the Halskapans actually retain bitter memories of their humiliation at her hands and covet the rich ore fields. So, and really potentially other neighbors would as well, rich in natural resources. They would conquer her land if they could, but so far she remains too strong, right? So in addition to just more mundane forces that she would have at her disposal, obviously she's still an Anshe at the end of the day and can cause some damage that way. So it's an interesting realm to start with, and just to look at the map here of this Tail Shore section, which is again where we're starting with. Right, we got the Siren, Halskapa, Svinnik, Ryuvik, and Stjordvik. Then we get into other nasties like the Blood Skulls and so on. And Doson is there, which is kind of the north of Anweir, right? But so it's sandwiched here in the southwest corner. It's got Gika here as one of the provinces, but it doesn't show off Dantier Island, which we'll look at a world map at some point. But again, fairly small, and you can see not overly settled, with Newtoner being the largest at 3-3, right? Port Helen is a 1, Kalinar's a 2, the Giga is a 2 as well, and Dantier Island's a 1. So very sparsely settled, which, there's room for growth there. But obviously with it being an Anshe realm, there's dangers there. So interesting realm that's in the neighborhood. So certainly if you're playing as Halskapa or Svinnik, you have that sort of on your doorstep in addition to your other neighbors to deal with and other humanoids and other just problems, both natural and mundane. But if you're Halskapa, that certainly is an area for expansion, but you'd have to be braving, again, taking over that realm and dealing with the Anshe itself. So as far as adventuring goes, interesting place to go, right? So very much like an industrialized area, especially in the capital, but could be some potential there too, just to kind of explore more off the edge of the map here. There's, again, that other island, which we'll show in the world map. So, but just, a lot of interesting things here, finding maybe remnants of any other forces or just layers or anything of that Dust Command. Again, we'll get more background on that in the Blood Enemies section, but just an interesting little realm, very, again, bleak and desolate, but just, there as with all the operations and trading that they do have. So you can imagine just essentially like it's not a realm of luxury or leisure, let's put it that way. It's very much just again, as it mentions, like a bleak realm. You got industry, you got trade, not much else, and then again the presence of an Anshe. Although at least for those who live there, she's not a danger, but for anybody neighboring, certainly still has to be respected. So interesting little realm to start with. Again, we'll be moving on to the others here of the Tail Shore as we get to playable realms. Thanks so much for watching, guys. Be sure to like and subscribe. Hit us up in the comments, and then if you want to support us, hit us up on our Patreon. We got some exclusive Birthright content there and other things as well. So thanks so much for watching. We'll see you in the next one.